fun, exciting Wednesday episode of Beerfield Fantasy Football. He is at Thury BFF with 2Ps from Springfield, Illinois. Dan, how are you?
I am doing great. I got some dark, heavy beer. This should be a very interesting check the box episode.
I am at Hot BFF with 2Ps coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. I am fine. I've been drinking for a little bit now. So
I'm fine, guys. I'm doing great.
I'm great. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
I love Wednesday episodes.
So
where
good.
We get to tell you who we want to start against the same teams we tell you to start people against every week. It's a lot of fun.
So true. But at least they're different players, right?
Yeah, right?
Right?
Right? Okay, yep. Anyway, yep, that's what we're here for. Start, sit, streams of the week. Get you all caught up on news and ready to go for Thursday night and week 12 for most the second to last week of their fantasy season.
Shit's getting real.
Shit is getting real. I just turned over
real.
like half of a roster in an ADP Dynasty League. Not half of a roster. It's really shallow, but I just turned over about 6 or 7 spots.
Wow.
To get ready.
Nice.
Yeah. So, or I think I did. I put in waiver claims to turn over about, it might have been 4 or 5. Felt like a lot, but I put in waiver claims to turn over some spots and make a run. So, we'll see.
You want to hear something crazy?
What's that?
I have, so in Scott Fishbowl, I'm 7-4. Don't ask me how.
Yeah, because I looked at the total points rankings and you were something like 400 spots below me.
I have scored the least amount of points with the 7-4 or better record. I am one bumblefuck win away from automatically being in the playoffs. I don't think it will be this week. I got a lot of players in by, and I've lost Marlon Mack. But
meanwhile, looking at my conference, I am. Let's see. If you look at average points scored, the way that the playoffs are set up, I would land somewhere in the middle of the pack of my conference. So it should be playoffs, except I'm not in the playoffs because I'm 4-7.
Oh man.
So all luck of the draw. I think I've got the either most or second most points against me. So
yeah, that's that. I mean that's
there will
you can always find a reason
like
why a middle of the pack scoring team is won a bunch of games, either with a bunch of luck or with people putting up some pretty poor weeks.
Yep. A lot of it's luck.
Yep.
So anyway, let's go ahead and what you get it.
Beer.
What's fueling Beerfield?
The way that light hits you makes you look like a pair of eyes with a beard that's just kind of glowing.
I am mystical.
YouTube, Beerfield's Fantasy Football. Twitter at BeerfieldFF. Beer. I am drinking Fruit on the Bottom. It is a collab from Stillwater Artisanal Ales and Hoof-Hearted Brewing. It is a sour IPA that is brewed with banana and strawberry and I believe vanilla extract and yogurt and milk sugar.
Good, take my fucking money right now.
So,
that sounds incredible.
I should have picked up more than one of these probably.
Oh well.
Either way, yeah, sour IPA. So, kind of brewed in the milkshake style or smoothie style, I guess, if you count the yogurt. But anyway, give you a full review of that midway through the show. I'm not drinking lime beer because, well, I drank a decent amount after work and didn't go by a store. So I'll definitely be in a liquor store on Saturday because we've got things to drop off for Lane and Zach. Ooh. So, yeah, I'll get something then.
Anyway, I am as alluded to a little bit here about 2 seconds ago. I'm drinking Death Tar from Revolution Brewing. Revolution's out of Chicago. This is their yearly release of this barrel aged series that they do. This is the base of it. This year it clocks in at 14.8%, about 30-ish IBUs, and it's aged for 12 years. Aged for 12 months. And it's going to be fun.
All right. That's what we're drinking. Now let's talk about some people that are like sore and wish they were drinking or playing. Or
they probably should stop drinking.
Yeah, because they're hungover.
or just keep drinking to beat the hangover.
Hangovers.
My preferred method.
Shower beers.
Broncos wide receiver Tim Patrick did not practice on Wednesday. He's kind of taken over the number 2. His Sutton slid up to the 1. Had himself a pretty nice week last week. He looked a little banged up during the game and has not practiced yet. So if you were taking a shot on Tim Patrick, keep an eye on that. I say
Let's
that
hope
because
not.
I may have picked up Tim Patrick.
You may
I
have.
think it was in Dynasty, though.
That makes sense.
I don't know. When you have 14 leagues, all the waiver wires run together.
I mean, I feel your pain. I think I look at maybe 10 leagues. I'm in 18, 19.
I'll
I'm
tell
just
you
like,
what,
nah.
I love MFL for as customizable it is, but I hate doing waiver pickups on MFL.
It sucks. I wish they all can be sleeper.
Sleeper's nice.
Yes.
All right. Like if ESPN and Sleeper had a baby, I would be happy.
That would be good.
You took the functionality of Sleeper and everything with some of the filtering settings and way in things you can dive into with ESPN and MFL. I'd be happy, human.
Yes.
All right. Adrian Peterson did not practice Wednesday with a toe injury. Good news for Darius Geis. More on him later.
Yep.
Josh Jacobs, the shoulder limited in practice on Wednesday. He's been dealing with this. He's been playing.
And in breaking news, sky is blue.
Yeah. Amari Cooper practiced in full. He's been banged up, so news. Heads up this week, Robert Woods is still away from the Rams facility dealing with a family problem. So
Ooh.
no word on when he'll be back or how long, but
Josh Reynolds, Gerald Everett if he's healthy.
Brandon Cooks will be back. So
Brandon Cooks until he gets concussed again. Hopefully not.
Brandon Cooks is expected to return. Tyler Lockett sidelined in Wednesday's practice. He's expected to practice tomorrow and play this weekend after being hospitalized with a leg injury the last time out. He's had the bye week to kind of rest up. So they're taking it easy with him, but he is fully expected to play.
Good.
The Niners might be the second most banged up team as far as fantasy relevancy goes outside of the Colts. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Emmanuel Sanders, and Matt Breida all did not practice on Wednesday.
Really need Kittle to return.
Yeah.
Like, that's really important for a lot of my teams.
And for the Niners.
And
Yeah.
for the Niners, I mean, they're playing the Packers. I feel like this makes sense because it's against Green Bay.
Yeah.
And all the good things happen to them.
Yep. Everybody but Breida does have a chance to play. Sanders played through his injury last week. He very well could play again. Kittle is getting close. Should be a game time decision. And Samuel finished the game on Sunday. So
I think they'll
should
both
be
play,
able to play. I think those three do play. Samuel, Kittle, and Sanders.
which would be huge because their two best receiving option or their three best receiving options are those three players.
Right. Will Fuller is still considered a game time decision for Thursday night versus the Colts. I'd imagine he doesn't play and they give him another week. If
10
that
days
close.
is. I figured at this point he's had so much time to rest that if he's not ready to go, I wouldn't be surprised.
Just give
if he
him
hears
another
something.
10 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see.
It's not like the Texans aren't used to playing without him.
True.
Right.
Right.
Mitchell Trubisky practiced in full on Wednesday after dealing with a, quote, hip pointer, end quote. Apparently was suffered in the second quarter taking a sack. It took them another full, almost 2 quarters to realize he shouldn't be playing, and then he hasn't missed any practice time. So,
It's because he couldn't sit on the bench. Nagy's like, oh man, he can't sit on the bench.
yeah.
I guess I gotta take him out
It's
now.
actually his tailbone. He can't sit on the bench, so he's got to play.
I mean, I'm sure hip pointers are no joke and should not be a laughing matter, but it seems
It's just the
fishy.
way that it's been handled and the
It's
way
been
that
handled.
things have gone around it.
Yeah.
Trubisky was quoted as saying he feels, quote, worlds better between Sunday night and today with 48 hours of rest. So,
I'm sure a handle of Jack would help with that too.
yeah. AJ Green, Auden Tate both remain sidelined for the Bengals. So, eye on Tyler Boyd, I guess. But Auden Tate may be good to go. He's in concussion protocol. Delaney Walker and Corey Davis returned to practice on Wednesday for the Titans.
Ooh, okay. I guess we should talk about it. Maybe I don't know.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's their 2 best receiving options. You definitely should. And they have Jacksonville this week, I think. So, Jacksonville's defense has not been good since the Ramsey trade. The rush defense more so than anything, but Yeah, it's worth mentioning because you could. And Corey Davis was floating around out there on waivers if you picked him up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I just never really feel great about Titans players.
It's the Titans. You
even
never
with
do.
the Chase
Yet
Tannehill.
somehow, there's always 3 or 4 of them that are relevant.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Derrick Henry and then his backup centers. Like that's what I feel like.
Yeah. Derrick Henry and his backup singers. Derrick Henry and the Jets.
Derrick
Henry and the East
Derrick
Street
Henry
Band.
and the Jets. All right. Off to a great start.
Jordan Wilkins removed from the Colts injury report. So if you ran out to pick up Jonathan Williams, he's going to split time with Wilkins and Nyheim Hines. He had a good game, but as long as it max out, it's going to be a 3-headed monster.
I'm leading Hines if I have to play one.
Or like a 3-headed slug. Well, Hines is the only one that has a unique role, right? Williams
in a game that could see the pace push, and if the Texans get up early, Hines should see enough receiving work to at least give him a floor day.
And that's what Hines is. And, you got Hilton that may be back. He was practicing, so that would put a little bit of a damper on that. But then Ebron's banged up. So, Nyheim Hines is the only one who has a defined role. The other two, it's going to be more of a hot hand approach.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
And Wilkins has also been efficient when he's gotten a chance. Eric Ebron's questionable for week 12, as is T.Y. Hilton. Again, T.Y. Hilton returned to practice. Ebron was banged up, so just keep an eye on that situation. We'll have more on that on Sunday. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to miss this week's game against the Bengals. Just too much to overcome with the knee injury and trying to get out of concussion protocol, so he won't play. James Conner also sidelined still.
And I guess Deontay Johnson was seen in practice per James Washington. So, I don't know if he'll play. That would be so insane, just with how bad with how bad that looked. I don't know if he'll play.
Johnson?
Yeah, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, but yeah.
I saw it on Twitter on break today. I didn't go check. I just saw a couple things about it, but if you're a James Washington truther, this is your week to prove it. So
I have been pushing James Washington hard, so we'll see.
So have I, and so many leaks.
Yep, Austin Hooper and Devonta Freeman both officially out this week. They were, quote, trending in the right direction, but it'll be at least another week for both of them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised here.
Defense has really stepped up in their absence.
Yeah.
So it's good news for Calvin Ridley. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
Evan Ingram is still sidelined, so we'll see with him. Sterling Shepard is practicing, but still technically in concussion protocol. So another thing we'll have to watch for the weekend. So make sure you have backup options there, especially in Ingram's case.
Oh, yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey and Jordan Howard both limited at practice Wednesday. Another thing to just keep an eye on.
Yeah, especially if Howard doesn't go. Miles Sanders again.
Yep.
A much better matchup this week.
Much better matchup. And Nelson Aguilar is also not practicing, so that receiving core is banged up.
I think he hurt his knees dropping that
winning pass,
game tying touchdown.
Yeah,
catch or pass.
David Njoku has been designated to return, is eligible to return by the Browns. You might as well pick him up. It's a tight end in a shitty again tight end season on a team that is in need of playmaking.
This could affect Jarvis Landry. I don't know how much it'll affect Landry so much. It could affect Hunt in those short, intermediate.
Well, Landry's also working slotting over the middle and everything more often than
they've been using Hunt all over the field too. It's
if there's somebody
generally when you
hurts, it's those two, I would think.
Yeah, it could hurt. It could hurt all around. It just not this week. If he plays this week, it won't be. This is a great matchup.
It is a great matchup, and he may play this week, so keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill's hamstring strain was deemed, quote, minor, and he's considered day-to-day. He's likely to not miss time.
I don't know how any hamstring injury is considered minor, but let's hope for the sake of everything that he can play through it.
It's more like deli meat hamstring as opposed to Easter hamstring.
Yeah, okay. I love it.
All right, let's go ahead and hit Top Shelf Rail. We'll talk starts and sits.
Top shelf or rail?
All right, I'm doing things backwards today. If you haven't noticed, so I'm going to go ahead and start off.
Sure.
With Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley gets a plus matchup against Tampa Bay. We know the cornerbacks, the run defense is good. The pass defense is not good. We know that the Falcons defense has been playing better. We deep dove that on Monday, but Tampa Bay has an offense that'll really test them, especially the way that they've been giving up yardage and just playing bend, don't break. So Calvin Ridley should get plenty of work. Austin Hooper and Devonta Freeman are going to miss a week, and that worked out really, really well for Calvin Ridley, who I think wasn't getting a ton of target volume because of Austin Hooper. He benefits the most from Hooper not being there and a plus-plus matchup. So Calvin Ridley against Tampa Bay is my first start of the week.
I wonder what the over/under is because I think this game is going to be the high scoring game.
Conveniently, I have it pulled up, so when I talk about Darius Geis, and I'll turn 90 degrees to my right and look.
All right, Darius Geis. As we spoke about with AP, he did not practice today. I think it kind of just fits the narrative that this is going to be the Darius Geis offense, at least the running game now. There is still Wendell Smallwood, but who the fuck cares about Wendell Smallwood? We got to see the explosiveness from Geis on his 45-yard catch and run that went for his first career touchdown for the NFL. I don't believe that we are going to see a massive timeshare. I think they're going to continue to ease guys back in, but increase his workload every week. You know, you get a very friendly run defense in Detroit. They've given up 17 total touchdowns on the season, the running backs, and 7 touchdowns over the past 4 weeks. They've been middle of the road against pass catching backs this year, but they've given up the most touchdowns there. So there's obviously a nice ceiling for guys, and I expect this floor to rise, especially if AP can't go. This is the week you missed out on your chance last week, and here's the chance to right the ship.
All right, over/under is 51.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah,
Over.
Yeah, probably the over. All right, looking at Bo Scarborough against Washington. So, two guys that a lot of people were running to the waiver wire to pick up: Bo Scarborough and Jonathan Williams. The difference between the two is that we know Kerryon Johnson probably isn't coming back this year. There's been no news on him at all. Ty Johnson hasn't been able to produce when given the opportunity. Neither is J.D. McKissick, other than in receiving work. And Johnson and McKissick were both active last week when Bo Scarborough saw 14 carries for 59 yards, I believe, and a touchdown. So, he gets Washington, which is a very, very plus matchup in a backfield where there's definitely opportunity, and he should still continue to see opportunity and continue to see work, as the Lions are kind of void of a between the tackles true runner. So, whereas I think Jonathan Williams is less likely to reproduce, I think Bo Scarborough has a chance to get you a touchdown, should see between 14 and 18 touches, and should be a lock to produce against Washington, who does not have a good defense in any facet.
I mean, he's their goal line back. You're not expecting a large yards per carry. That's just not Bo Scarborough's game.
That's 3.9 last week. We don't, and it was only his first NFL game too. It was his first regular season touches.
He is not a terrible pass catcher. We saw that on his tape in Alabama. So if you can get 3-4 targets and see at least 60% of the carries plus goal line work, he could be in line for a very nice week.
Yep, I agree with that completely, and I'm counting on him to have the repeatable performance.
Yeah.
All right, you're looking Tyrell Williams against Seattle. Tyrell Williams has been efficient, if anything, this season.
He's been quiet, at least. He's been battling with all the different ailments that he's been thrown at, especially in the middle part of the season. But he still sees about 80% of the snap rate when he plays. He's also the wide receiver 1 on it, and much improved passing offense. Again, plus matchup against the Jets. Jets are really bad against receivers. 15 touchdowns allowed this season, including almost 1,800 receiving yards on 140 catches. They've also given up 10 touchdowns and 750 yards over the past 4 games. Tyrell may not need to hit the 8, 9, 10 plus targets to produce this week. He went 4 for 4 for 82 last week against I believe a much, not say much more, but a not as easy matchup this week. This could be a very nice bounce back week for them, or bounce back week for him in playing him.
Yep, absolutely. And he hasn't had 8, 9, or 10 targets in any game, and he's still been able to produce. He had 5 straight weeks with a touchdown. Like you said, 82 yards last week, 105 yards in week 1. It hasn't seen more than 7 targets in any given week, so he's been efficient.
Yep.
All right, I'm looking at DJ Chark against Tennessee. The Titans do have a couple of decent corners in Logan Ryan and Adoree Jackson, but they've allowed double-digit games the last 3 weeks to Mike Evans, Curtis Samuel, and Tyreek Hill, trending downward. Chark saw team high in targets with Nick Foles under center. Figures to be leaned on again. He didn't drop off going from Minshew to Foles at all. The Titans allowed the fourth most points to wide receivers over the last 5 weeks, making this a player that's trending up with a defense that's trending down. That I'm completely okay and comfortable with starting.
I mean, I'm starting DJ Chark, and I think he's
a lot of places.
I think he's a lock and start for the rest of the year, just given his matchups and the fact that he's a wide receiver 1. I mean, that's where we're at now. You throw him out there, and you just expect him to produce.
Yep. The name sometimes, because it's not Julio Jones or anybody, and he plays in Jacksonville, is not one that rings a ton of confidence yet. So just reinforcing that.
Of course, exactly.
Right. You're looking at Allen Robinson against the Giants, which is a start I don't hate. I'll be more on the Bears in a minute.
So the struggles of Trubisky have been very much real, and that has kind of hurt the points per game for Allen Robinson. Robinson's been having a nice season. We talked about him on Monday and why he should be a buy low in Dynasty. Now he gets a plus matchup this week because he's had difficult matchups over the past few weeks. Giants have given up the 3rd most points per game to wide receivers this season, including 14 touchdowns and nearly 2,000 yards. They've also given up 6 wide receiver touchdowns during their past 4 games. So this is a very friendly matchup for Robinson and a very friendly matchup overall for the Bears, and one that if you throw him out this week, you could reap the benefits of that said nice matchup.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to sits. I'm looking at sitting Golden Tate against Chicago. Reason being, Bears have allowed one wide receiver over double digits in 4 weeks. They've allowed just one receiver out of the slot into double digits all season. And Sterling Shepard's practicing, and you're looking at a return. You haven't seen Shepard and Tate on the field at all. Evan Ingram showed his walking boot. There's an outside chance he plays. And the Bears cornerbacks have been good, despite how bad Trubisky's been and the lack of sacks and everything from Khalil Mack and the run defense falling off. The pass defense hasn't generated as many turnovers, but they also have not been yielding a ton of yardage or really productivity in the fantasy game. So if Tate's volume or target share takes a bit of a hit with the Giants getting some players back coming out of the bye week, I do not like him as somebody I want to start this week.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, you got another player that's kind of turned the corner and started to step up against another defense that has just been playing out of their mind.
So we have Joe Mixon here. He's playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've only given up 4 rushing touchdowns this season, and over the past 4 games, they've given up zero touchdowns to running backs and just right around 336 rushing yards. This isn't the plus matchup for the Joe Mixon owners that want to see it. While Joe Mixon has been good over the past 3 weeks, at least in terms of, he's been finally treating a lot of touchdowns, got his first rushing touchdown this past week. I'm thinking you may need to look elsewhere, though. We know how bad this Cincinnati offense is, and Pittsburgh may be keen in on finding each and every way to contain Mixon. I wouldn't be surprised if Mixon just puts up another meh week.
I'm with you. It's against Pittsburgh, so that's absolutely a possibility.
Yep.
Speaking of players that could put up meh weeks, Carlos Hyde. is going up against a Colts team that's allowed one back in 6 weeks to have more than 10 points. That was Royce Freeman. Only Austin Eckler and Derrick Henry have broken 15 points all season. That was in week 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And he'd been able to pass on the Colts, so run just isn't the way to do it. This game should see the pace pushed a little bit. I think these are two teams that really do match up nicely. And I don't expect Carlos Hyde to be able to run against the Colts defense. It's been very, very good in that regard. So I'd steer clear of that.
Yeah, you're just praying for a touchdown at this point.
Pretty much, because you're not going to get a ton of efficiency, which is the other thing Hyde has been good at this year.
Yep.
All right. Your next sit. I was going to say last, but I think you've only given one.
This one.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup is this one. We know how good New England's defense has been this year, especially against receivers. Just one receiving touchdown and just over 1,000 yards in total. Well, the Cowboys have been the best offense in football at the moment. I'm not sure if it's going to be that good this week against a very good defense. It's also rumored that Stephon Gilmore is going to be the one playing up on Michael Gallup. They may just sacrifice. With how good Amari Cooper has been, they may just want to throw their best corner on their second best option in hopes to contain Cooper and obviously stop Zeke. It may not seem to make the most sense, but with how good Gallup has been lately, I think that's not the worst option to go. So I'm looking to stay clear of Mr. Gallup this week.
Completely agree. Don't like anybody playing New England. All right, and we both got some quarterbacks that have one's been trending up, one's been trending down. My quarterback sit is Aaron Rodgers against San Francisco. That offense has been kind of in disarray for most of the season. Rodgers is on a downward trend. We talked about Rodgers really at length after the show yesterday. It would have been good on the show, but we didn't get to it on the show. As far as, where he's at in Dynasty, what he's done over the last couple of years, and how good he has just not looked. 3 straight quarterbacks have managed over 20 points against San Francisco, but before that, there are 4 straight games holding quarterbacks under 8 points. And unless the Packers can show up with their offense humming on all cylinders, like Russell Wilson in Seattle were, for example, and like what Oakland has been, you're not gonna get a good game out of Aaron Rodgers. Like that offense is gonna have to be on point and clicking in order to score against San Francisco, and that has not been the case.
Yeah, I like it.
All right.
I'm not playing him this week.
It's bold, I know, but I wanted to be a little bold with this last one. So,
well, so is mine.
Yep, you got a guy
good
who's been the quarterback 5 since he came back from injury, I think, or bye.
Josh Allen.
Yeah,
Josh Allen was the QB1 last week. He's been on fire. He did it against a horrible Miami defense, and his rushing floor and production has always been there. Denver, though, one of the best, if not the best, against mobile quarterbacks this year, at least in terms of giving up rushing yards. Just 76 total rushing yards and 0 rushing touchdowns on the year. While Josh Allen is likely the best mobile quarterback they're going to face this year, it's not like they haven't been able to prevent some other guys who've been known to do that as well. Trubisky, we've seen it from Gardner Minshew and Baker Mayfield and players like that. And we know that Allen can struggle and will struggle with some of the deep balls. This is a very good defense. I still like John Brown because of that production. But with Josh Allen is you kind of hoping that the rushing floor can make up for a poor passing day, which is not preposterous to say. I don't think it happens this week. I'm staying clear of a guy like Josh Allen this week. I won't be shocked if he puts up some nice numbers, but I'm playing matchups with them. I know he's been good. I'm taking the bold call here, and I'm running with it.
Hey, speaking of Denver, you want a surprising stat?
What's that?
Okay, let's do this. Brandon Allen's completion percentage.
Okay.
Over or under, let's call it 55.
Yikes. I mean, that's such a low number. It's got to be low, right?
49.2.
Yeah, Jesus.
You think of inaccurate quarterbacks over the past couple of years and guys that you're like, oh, wow, they've been bad. Their accuracy is terrible. Like Josh Allen, for example, in previous seasons. for a reference point, Josh Allen, his rookie year, 52.8% completion percentage last season. The Deshaun Kaiser is another one that had been traditionally bad. I'm just curious now. I'm going down a rabbit hole. 53.6 the year he got 15 starts. Brandon Allen's been worse than either of those guys.
They're just
Worse than
praying for
Cam
Drew
Newton.
Lock to be ready.
Yeah, worse than Cam Newton. Like, that is atrocious.
That's bad.
That is really bad.
Wow. It's
For comparison, high 50s, like 58 to 61 is probably about average. 58 to 62, and anything over 63 is generally good. Just for a reference point as to how bad 49.2 is. Anyway,
play Buffalo's defense.
That's my
this
Brandon
week.
Allen tangent.
Ah, love it. That's amazing.
All right, let's hit a beer review, then we'll get into some weekly specials and some you call it.
Beer review.
All right, we'll get back to normal. Dan, go ahead and start.
So we have Death Star from Revolution Brewing, 14.8%. This is their 2019 release. This is the base release. As stated, is aged for 12 months. You should get notes of chocolate, vanilla, and a little bit of caramel to it. Well, I don't get a lot of caramel, at least in terms of flavor and taste. It is sweet, a lot of chocolate, and then the vanilla kind of gives it that background, that kind of complement to it. It really gives it a nice feel, mainly coming from the bourbon barrels that they use. Did not say which bourbon barrel they use for this year. You definitely taste the boost. You definitely get the richness and the sweetness from the chocolate. It's extremely tasty. It's one of the better bourbon barrel aged beers I've had. I'm excited that I got 3 more to age throughout the process here, including when I bring one up for you during our NFL draft live stream. So if you got a chance to get this, I would recommend spending up on the money to do it. It's not the most expensive one, but it's definitely not cheap. This is fantastic.
It sounds absolutely fantastic.
And you will get to try one.
May
get to try one on Sunday or on Saturday.
I'm excited. I don't know what the hell I'm going to grab on Saturday, but I'm going to grab something.
I got 2 beers to share, and I may bring this one with. The only problem is it's just 12 ounces. I don't want to bring more than one.
I'm going to bring a couple bombers up to share, and I'll bring a bottle of something.
I'm so glad that you and I are on the same page with that. Because I'm just like, no one else is going to really appreciate it besides Nick as much as we will.
Right. So I'm going to bring a couple bombers and pick up some mixers and some other things. But yeah, anyway, I was drinking fruit enough about Friendsgiving this weekend. I was drinking fruit on the bottom. Fruit and hops on the bottom, which is a rotationally hopped sour IPA with strawberry, banana, milk sugar, yogurt, vanilla extract. First off, most unique thing about this beer, the yogurt stands out. And I don't mean that in a sense of it tastes like yogurt necessarily. I mean that in the sense of that mouthfeel that you get when you first take a bite of yogurt, how you have that creaminess and then it kind of goes off into like this, I don't want to say dry, but you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I know, I do.
That kind of mouthfeel that ends a little, that fades off into a little bit of dryness, almost like chalky, if you will. As far as a mouthfeel goes, not a taste.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I get you.
And that slight sourness, that's exactly what you get off of the front of this beer. It tastes like you just took, or the mouthfeel is exactly like you just took a bite of yogurt. You do get some of the sourness, but it's not necessarily that overly tart sourness like you'd get from a kettle sour or a Gosa or something like that. It is kind of that same yogurt type of sourness that you get from like the bacteria and stuff that's in there. Just since it's really what yeast is, and that's what beer's made with, so that makes sense. The banana and strawberry don't necessarily individually pop. I can taste the strawberry only because I brewed a strawberry beer myself, and I know that that's what is giving this a lot of the tartness. And some of like the refreshing sweetness, even though that doesn't necessarily spring. I think it's tempered by the banana, but the fruit flavors meld nicely, but they don't necessarily individually pop. And as far as the rotational hop goes, it definitely does have. You can tell it's an IPA the way that the way that the bittering hop kind of just sits on the back the entire time and it finishes dry. So it's a very unique, very well done beer. Like I'm honestly impressed with this.
I want to try it. Like I'm trying to taste it while you describe it.
I'll see if I can get another. I'll do some running tomorrow and see if I can pick up another can of it
That would
to
be
bring up there because it's pretty good.
that would
They
be
sold
perfect.
them individually, and I can't remember how many they had left, but I'll see if I can grab one.
Perfect.
All right, let's go ahead and get into weekly specials. Thank you to Revolution and Stillwater / Hoofhearted for giving us those two beers. Let's go.
Like they had a choice.
They did not have a choice. Nobody ever has a choice. But
Nobody
hey,
ever
thank you
does.
anyway. Get to weekly specials.
Weekly specials.
All right. Gonna go ahead and start off with Mitchell Trubisky for me as my quarterback streamer. And I know there's a
Bold.
lot of people selling me upstream right now. And we're done with this guy. We're done with this show. We're never listening again because he's recommending Mitchell Trubisky. But if you listened on Monday, you heard me deep dive Mitchell Trubisky's stats and how the Bears' offensive struggles are not necessarily the fault of Mitchell Trubisky. And if they're going to get it right against anybody, it's the Giants. 5 of 6 quarterbacks to face the Giants who cleared 20 points, including 2 3-touchdown performances from Stafford and Prescott. Darnold managed to pass and run for a touchdown, and he's been up again, down again, pretty comparable to Trubisky. Brady ran for 2 touchdowns. Cousins passed for 302. Every quarterback has been able to put up points against the Giants. You haven't seen any like 30 or 40 point blowups, but you've basically seen a 20-point floor. Mitchell Trubisky has shown flashes of being able to do that this year. There's been stretches in really every game up until the Rams game, and even the Rams game, it was more drops that were plaguing from his wide receivers than anything that were hurting Mitchell. Anytime you target Taylor Gabriel 14 times, you're doing something wrong. No offense, Taylor Gabriel, but it's true. So, Mitchell Trubisky against the Giants. If I'm looking for a quarterback streaming option, he's freely available out there on waivers. It's a good matchup, and I've got at least one place where have to say, yeah, screw it. I'm going to play Mitchell Trubisky because Patrick Mahomes is on bye and Matthew Stafford is out with a broken back. So,
I like it.
it's
Bold.
bold.
It should be bold.
Yep. And you're going bold as well with another quarterback that has been struggling excessively this year in a very plus matchup.
Baker Mayfield. He's Bay again. He's throwing back-to-back weeks with multiple touchdown passes, back-to-back weeks with multiple QB1 finishes, and now gets the defense, which is Miami, that just made Josh Allen the QB1 with no rushing production. I think it was all through the air. Doesn't matter though. It's no joke that that Baker struggled this year. But Miami again, bad. A 23 passing touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. If this is the week that Baker's going to really blow up, this is the matchup, and this is the matchup that I'm looking for. I'm game stacking this in DFS. I'm all in on Baker this week and the receivers here as well. I love this matchup for the Browns.
All right. Yeah, it is a good matchup and a lot of similarities, except Baker is trending upwards. My tight end is Jack Doyle against Houston, and I did no research on this when I wrote this in. I wrote the player in and then decided I'm going to do research later.
It's Jack fucking Doyle.
Eric Ebron's banged up. T.Y. Hilton's banged up. Marlon Mack banged up. He really is kind of coming into the week. Last man standing. We'll see who actually can suit up and play, but he's the only one not showing up on an injury report. Really, out of any Colts skill position or pass catcher that has any cachet to them at all. The tight end position's ugly. Houston has allowed, I think, 2 out of 4 tight ends into double digits. Although, when you look at tight end points versus when you're looking at everybody else's points, it just always looks bad. So you can't really find anything you like other than whoever's playing Arizona, which is nobody this week. So Jack Doyle it is.
I mean, this really feels like a 10 targets, 10 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown this week for good old Jack Doyle.
Yeah, we'll see. This is gonna end up being my best call of the week. Watch.
Right.
All right, Ryan Griffin versus Oakland.
So other bad defenses against tight ends. Oakland has given up 7 receiving touchdowns this year, 3 over the past 4 weeks. Ryan Griffin is really coming off of a nice matchup, 5 for 5, 109 and a touchdown against Washington. Sam Darnold just prefers tight ends, so when they get down to the red zone, this is a great option to use. When you don't have a true receiving option to be a red zone threat, you lean to your tight ends to cover that basis. Obviously knows Chris Herndon because he's on IR. Throw out Ryan Griffin. A great play this week.
All right, and moving on to defenses where there are not a ton of great options.
Yes.
Out there on waivers. I've got Oakland against the Jets. Darnold's been bad. Oakland's defense last week put up a good performance. Mad Max Crosby had himself a great game. The Jets are prone to turnovers, are prone to inefficiency. So that's about the only reason I can tell you to start Oakland. You just hope that they train, that they hit their stride, that they're feeling good coming into a game against a team that can yield some good defensive performances.
I mean, they're going to give up points and potentially yards, but there's turnovers and sacks to be
sacks
had here.
Especially.
Yeah,
on this one. All right, you got another one that might almost be the same narrative. I'm assuming more about who they're playing than how they've played.
This is all about who they're playing. This is the Browns defense. Yes, the loss of Myles Garrett sucks. He is majority of their pass rush, but the Dolphins have just been fantasy friendly. They've given up 18 sacks over the past 4 weeks and 7 turnovers. And we have yet to really see a truly bad Fitzpatrick game. It happens once a year, if not more. We haven't really seen it yet. And it may be this week. Not the best advice, but when you're looking at streaming defenses, you're looking at matchups, you're looking at potential outcomes. A Cleveland defense that has been getting better. They have their secondary back in both Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams, which has only been helpful and helped lead to sacks based on what they would call secondary, or based on what they call a coverage sack. So there could be a nice floor this week for the Cleveland defense.
All right, that's all we got for your weekly stream. So quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Mitchell Trubisky, tight ends, Jack Doyle, Ryan Griffin, DST, Oakland, and Cleveland. Let's go ahead and hit some you call it, and then we'll call it.
And get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out.
You call it.
All right, guys. Or guy.
Guys, gal, guy,
Whatever.
gals.
James Washington, 5,000 on DraftKings. You get Cincinnati, that's been impossibly bad in every facet of the game. You got Deontay Johnson dealing with a concussion. You got Juju Smith-Schuster dealing with a concussion and a knee issue. It's basically James Washington and Johnny Holton that are left standing amongst a couple tight ends.
Yikes.
So, should be target volume for a guy that has at least done something, and he's only $5,000 with a ton of upside. So it's a relatively cheap play. Right,
Yeah, he's going to be good in cash and good in tournaments.
Yep. All right. You're looking Tyrell Williams.
Yeah, I talked about him earlier in the show. If you want to hear my thoughts and why I like him this week overall, go back and listen to that. But in terms of actual DFS lineup builds, I think he's fairly priced for both cash games and for both GDP, and I think he has a good chance on paying off of his $6,400 FanDuel price. I would not be surprised if he gets upwards to 18, 20 points, especially if he scores a touchdown this week.
Yeah. All right, looking at spreads, I got Miami plus 10.5 versus Cleveland, basically because I think Miami's been pretty good at covering here lately.
They have been.
Yeah, they've been good at covering their impossibly large spreads, and Cleveland has not been hitting on all cylinders. So I could see this game being closer than people think. Not like hold your breath close, but closer than 10 points close. So
yeah,
that's
it's not easy to beat a team by 10 points. As much as people like to admit it, it's not that easy to do.
Does not happen all that often.
No.
Unless, you're It's 10 and a half.
defensive.
It's 10.5, so you're good. You would have been good in the Arizona San Francisco game if you
Oh,
got
God.
it at 10.5. But
No.
10, things happen.
Yeah.
All right, you've got Seattle +2 at Philadelphia.
I'm not surprised that Philly's favored, but I'm a little surprised that they're favored. Seattle's been really good this year, especially as of late. They gave the Niners their only loss, and now they're on the road, which I know home teams are going to get that favor. I just don't see losing this game, so I'll take the 2 points. You can do cash line or not cash line, a money line here if you want, but I think Seattle has a pretty good chance of not only covering this, which is a +2. So even if they lose by 1, you still win. I think this is a pretty smash bet here for me.
All right. I would agree with that. Actually, I definitely like Seattle. I would just take the money line on that one. I don't think Seattle loses. To
You can do
Philadelphia.
both. I mean, like if you
They
want
have
to
not
play,
been playing good. I'm going to try to run another parlay this week, so maybe I will.
I think you should. I think, and I may try to get on this as well if I can. I may do both their bets in a parlay.
I might.
Boom.
We'll see.
We'll see.
how that goes. I was 2 for 4 in my attempt at a parlay last week.
That means you made money though, right?
Yeah.
Or no, it's like
No,
you do a 4-team parlay.
Yeah, 14.
Okay, yeah, those are 4-teamers are a bit tough.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in. We may or may not be here on Sunday, given
I'll be here on Sunday.
Okay.
I don't work the next.
Dan
two
will be
Sundays,
here on
so.
Sunday. I will probably not be because I will actually be near Dan. So
If you want to come join us on one mic and camera,
I'm waiting.
by all means.
I mean, I can bring a mic, but I'm waiting on. Oh yeah,
We're gonna
that's
be
tough.
hungover Sunday, anyways.
We're gonna be really hungover Sunday. I am also off. Kind of waiting on the wife's schedule to plan all of that out. So Dan will at least be here. I might be.
I'll
here.
be here.
But anyway, Sunday morning, YouTube,
We'll
Beerfield
see.
Fantasy Football. I am at Hot BFF with 2 P's. Chris, hi.
I'm at 30 BFF with 2 Fs. Dan, hi. First name basis.
First name basis. That's how we do things here.
We're friends now.
We are all friends now. Otherwise, we'll be back on Monday with easily our more favorite episode than this one
When we talk things that we care about.
and things we want to talk about. So,
Word. See you guys.
Bye. I had a burp again. I think that's how I ended last episode too. There it is.
There it is.
Outro starts with the letter O.